hair is flat today. That's what I get for filming after sparring. One mistake I always made as an up-and-coming martial artist is that I was uncoachable. Now, what do I mean by uncoachable? How did I fix it? And how can you prevent to be uncoachable? We're gonna talk about all these things, but first let's talk about what is it? What is it? What do I mean by coachable? So obviously there are certain circumstances in which one should think of themselves as a coachable person. If you wanna be an athlete and succeed in a sport, you should listen to a coach pretty much all the time. The reason is that coach has a different lens of which to view the sport than you as the athlete does. So for example, if I'm gonna go in jiu-jitsu and he keeps passing my guard because I am just adamant on holding collar and sleeve grip and he just keeps passing and I can't do about it. And my coach is like, hey, go to Williams guard. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that and I can make that transition. And I can get out of my own head about sticking to the thing. But being coachable doesn't always mean in a tournament or a competition setting. Being coachable also comes into play on the mats inside your home dojo. What that means is, let's say we're working on something that you're not particularly good or fond of in the class, or a style of defense that you're not fond of. That doesn't mean that you just coast through the class. It means you should empty your cup and try and take in what the instructor is telling you. It might be useful, maybe not right now, but later. This is especially true for those athletes that maybe have come from a different school or a different program or a different art, and they come into this new art and new program with all of this preconceived knowledge on how stuff is supposed to go. So inside the class, being coachable means a few things. If I'm telling you you're doing something wrong as a coach, I don't mean it with disrespect to you and your style. I just mean it that that's not the way it's supposed to be done right here and right now. That I want you to work on something a little bit different and try and add it to your game, or at least add the concept. And that's hard if you already come in with a lot of preconceived notions or your cup is already full. That's the problem I ran into when I went from my original dojo to an MMA gym. I had all these preconceived notions on how fighting worked. And they would tell me, hey Ed, instead of being here, why don't you try being here? And then I would be like, oh, I can't be here because I can't touch my own face. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. Do it anyway. I'm glad I listened to that coach because now this is one of my favorite ways of blocking, especially in southpaw, because I can keep my hand up here and block. Whereas in orthodox, I can't get that hand close. So I was still able to use it and adapt it, just not at that time. So my advice to you is to be coachable. Now it's easier said than done. So let's get into how we can become coachable. One thing to realize, your coach shouldn't be overly critical of you as a person. They just want you to do better, theoretically. Especially if you're representing their banner or whatnot as a competitor. But if you never compete and you're in a place that you're getting coached, it's just for your betterment. So try not to take it personally. Don't get defensive, don't shut down. Also, when your coach tells you something, shut up and listen. And I know this is hard because we all have like things and ideas and thoughts going through our brain. Like, listen, I know I'm trying to do this thing and you tell me not to do the thing, but I really want to do this thing. Tell your coach that. Tell your coach your ideas. Tell your coach your ideas. What are you trying to accomplish? I'm wanting to land my front kick, but every time I throw my front kick, he scoops it. Tell your coach that. Don't tell your coach, well, yeah, I was trying to do this and that and that. No, they don't care. They want you to succeed and they're telling you how to succeed. Then tell them what you want to succeed with. It's a conversation. But remember, don't be defensive because then they're not gonna wanna coach you and now you're just someone that trains there and not that coach's student or pupil or disciple. Please don't be a disciple, don't be a cult. That's just no bueno. Now, if your coach still participates in the sport that you're doing, like myself, still kickboxing or doing the jiu-jitsu with my training partners and students, and I'm able to do something to you to take advantage of something that, let's say, you tend to do, and I'm gonna coach you not to do that, I really don't wanna hear the why you can't do it. I am very particular personally about excuses on why you can't do something. It's kind of like the whole Yoda thing.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
And it's like, there's no can't in this dojo is something I like to repeat a lot as a fun thing to say. But I honestly mean that. And I, I come from a place where I was told I can't do a lot of things. So I don't want to hear it, really. And that might be my own self-projecting, but if I tell an athlete or I tell a student, like, hey, every time I get in side control, you just try to bench press me off. And it might work against some people. I am not the heaviest or biggest person in the gym, so you could probably do that. But every time you do, I armbar you. Don't do that anymore. And I tell you that, like, no, I just do this. It's just how I do it. No, that's not being coachable. Because then I'm going to armbar you every single time, and you're going to be like, why can't I get better from bottom side control? And I keep getting armbarred, and I'm going to be like, and that's what I'm particularly talking about. If I kick you in the head, and then I say, hey, keep your hands up, and you're like, I can't keep my hands up. I'm like, listen, someone who can't touch their own face, okay? Like, range of motion, it doesn't work. Like, there we go, right? That hurt to do, and now I'm gonna hurt for like a week because of YouTube now. Thank you. Please, because I'm hurting myself for YouTube, make sure you like the video for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Also, comment something. Algorithm. I don't care. I'll talk to you in there. Yeah, good conversations down there. Always. But if you tell me you can't do something, I'm really not interested in listening to it unless it is a true thing. Like, oh, I broke my arm and I can't do that. I'm like, dude, I've got the thing for that. I'm kind of contradicting myself, but that is the nature of this. The idea is like, try to come at it from a different angle. Don't be defensive. Don't tell me you can't do something. Tell me, hey, I tried doing that, but it didn't work. See how I changed that around? So if your cup is full and I'm trying to add more to it, it's not that. It's like, listen, here's why my cup's full. It's got this in it. Oh, throw this out and add a little bit more, just a little bit. Then I could do that. And that's how you become coachable. Now, it is a practice skill. It's not something that you're going to learn and do and perfect the first time you ever try to do it. And if you are, awesome. Then you just became a better athlete. But it is a practice skill. And that's important to recognize, that it is a skill that you have to work on. I know I had to work on it too, because of how I would fight here, and they would always punch me right in the mouth, and I'd be like, well, Ed, have you tried like not getting punched in the face? Have you tried not sucking? And that's, you know, I am the type of person that has been trained to take that type of criticism and know that it's for the betterment of myself. There have been times where I would not take that well and be offended, and I had to work on it, and you know, it's just one of those things, and it takes time to develop that. And a lot of it works too because I've started coaching people. When I became a coach, when I would tell somebody, I had to find a way to word it that didn't sound so overly critical, because I know as an empathetic person, so-called, right, that I don't want to overly stress this person because I feel like I'm being overtly mean to somebody. But that's kind of a different thing altogether, like becoming a coach versus being coachable. And that's the biggest problem. Like, if you come from one jiu-jitsu school to another jiu-jitsu school and they do the armbar slightly differently, instead of a 6-step armbar, it's 3 steps, and you're like, well, I thought this, and this, and you're like, yeah, that's, just do it the way they're doing it. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to get at. When you go to train somewhere new, if you moved or whatever, just try and do what the coach is telling you to do. They have your best interest in mind. And if they're overly critical, like that's some bullshit, then maybe that's not the place for you. And that sucks also to know. But you generally know when you train with somebody on if you vibe well or not. That's my advice to you, my Metrolina crew. Ooh, it rhymed. If you liked the video, like I said earlier, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Make sure to turn on post notifications so you never miss my or any other handsome face I get on the channel. And I will catch you all in the next one. Oh, also, xmarshall.com. Use the code Metrolina22. Link is in the description. Save yourself 10% and help support the channel. Or don't, whatever. Your prerogative. And I'll catch you in the next one. Party on.